Good morning. Welcome back to Sunnyside Journals. I'm Catherine, and I have a little work to do on my desk here this morning. And I thought, well, let me look and see what I plan on getting done today, and I can show you what I have worked on yesterday with the camera off. Yeah, so Gilbert and Sullivan got adopted and is going to be winging its way off to a new home. So, of course, it's time to get started on some new projects. I was able to pull apart this sad little journal, The British Nation, and I'll show you. We'll talk about that in a minute. I got started on this book, Here Come the Bees. Hold on, there we go. I've had this book for a long time. I think I found it a year ago, and it's been sitting on my shelf. But in that time, I was gathering up extra bee kind of things that I would come across in books while making other journals. If I came across something that I thought, oh, that could go in a bee journal, and I would put it aside with this little book, and I kept it tucked away on my shelf in the back of my mind. And so now is the time for the bees. So this has got to be the hardest little book I have ever had to take apart. Let me put a stone under here so it stays up better. This book was so hard to pull apart. This is the original spine, so it wasn't a big book, certainly bigger than a Little Golden Book, but not a huge book. But the way the publisher bound it, obviously they intended this for high impact use, schoolrooms, libraries, sort of thing, because not only was it sewn to all these signatures sewn together, but they were also glued together. They were also stapled, really heavy duty staples in there, and then glued into the book because it wasn't, the spine wasn't hollow back. It was glued right into it, and then it was glued down around it. This was one tough cookie to crack. I guess tough nut to crack. Anyhow, I did it. I was determined. I had to pull out all my tools and gear, and yeah, I got it done. So I removed the tiny little spine, this little sweetie. I think I'll probably make a belly band out of this and put it back into the book. Wouldn't that look cute? Down the center of a page, so you can tuck things in behind it. So that's the plan. Boy, it's got beautiful illustrations in it. Mostly in shades of black and yellow and green. Not really black, I guess. Very dark brown. And I love that the pages are not snow white. They're sort of an off-white, a creamy color. So this just lends itself. It just calls out to me. So yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm planning on, yes, incorporating a few spreads back into the new journal. And then I'm planning on, as much as possible, using the illustrations as to create the ephemera to put back into it. I love when I can do that with a book, and just really thank the book for donating itself to become a junk journal. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? That would actually make a really nice end page. I've been wondering what to use for an end page, and look at that. Well, there we go. A little inspiration while I'm talking out loud. So I've put a new spine on it. Now I'm trying to remember. I think it's 1 3/4 inches. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see what we did. Yes. 1 3/4-ish, maybe 1 5/8, 1 5/8, 1 3/4 if you include the sort of these little shoulder pokey outies, but they don't affect how many signatures you can hold. It's more helpful for the hinge and decorative. So 1 5/8. So I most likely will put 7 signatures in here. And I used a technique that I have learned from a very, very talented woman. She's got a YouTube channel here, and she's also got a very busy website and such. Sophia. Oh, I'm having a brain cramp with her last name. Her YouTube channel is Save Your Books. I'll put the link down below. She actually repairs and restores antique books, or else books that are in grave need of help. And her techniques are so excellent. I have learned so much from watching her videos. And one of the things that I learned was how, for a particular book, she was restoring a very old fairy tales book, and how she put the new spine in it was so helpful. She literally goes from the inside, once she's got the text block out, and lifts this side of the end papers on both sides, and then she goes in with the new spine and slides it in between, and then glues it all down. So that's how you end up with this. I put some rickrack there, and I wish I had left the rickrack off so I could show you how lovely and clean and tidy it looks here. Next time because this was my first time, I was hesitant to turn the camera on. But I will definitely do this again. It looks so nice. You lose minimal cover illustration. You know how when we restore little golden books, we lose quite a big chunk of this side of our covers to create the spine. And sadly, little golden books don't really have an end paper that you can lift up, because it's a different kind of binding method. But these kinds of books, I will definitely do that again, because that's really cute. So right now, so far, my plan is, so this, I'll be going downstairs to get it done. I found some yellow paper in amongst my stash, and I think I'm going to very lightly tea dye this today. I don't want it too dark brown, but I do want some character around the edge. And then I'm going to have to figure out a way, because obviously a standard sheet, if I fold it, it's not going to come out to the edge. So I'm going to have to find a way to do the fold off center and then fill in some area there. And I think that's going to be cute. I plan on using some of my garden diary books, because bees and gardens just go together. So I've got lots of plans for this little book. I plan on lots of floral botanical type fussy cuts into it. And I think this is going to be a really sweet journal. And I was going to say little. This is not going to be a little journal. This is, not only is it thick, but the cover is bigger than usual. It's wider than a cover this length would normally be. Like, for example, here is a, this is a modern Reader's Digest. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen new ones, but this is a new kind of the Reader's Digest books. And see what I mean? How normally this cover for a spine this big would probably only have come to here. And then maybe my standard papers might have fit better. But they don't, and we will work with it, because that's what gives your junk journal character, right? And makes it unique, so that there's only one like it in the whole world. So I'm going to put this aside for now, because I'm going to have to, after I turn off the camera, I'm going to have to go down and get these soaking, and I'd like to get them dry before the rain comes in. We're supposed to have about 3 days of rain coming up where I live. So I need to get those dry probably this morning. So, the British Nation. This this book, I thought because it was falling apart that it would be easier to take apart, but it wasn't so easy. It was a little tricky. I had hopes for it. I had hopes that let me squeeze this in here. I really had hopes. My brick's in the way. I really had hopes that I was going to be able to save the end paper with the other side of it, because I love this tape here that the owner did their own repair work here, and I love that. But this end paper is glued down so well that there's just no way it would lift so that I could save that spread. And I didn't want to save the back spread because it had writing on it. All this edging, I did this. It was nice and smooth like this. It was a nice finished end paper. I've already hacked away at the edge, and I'm going to finish here, but I saved a little bit so I can show you how I do it and why I do it. So yeah, so I ended up just having to take the text block out, and it was trickier. The gauze came apart nicely. It was practically disintegrating, but there were two bands across here suspending the text block into the hollow back spine, and they were still tough as nails. They were hanging on. So they were what posed the challenge for me. But we managed. We got through it and we got it out. Now this, what's left of this spine is pretty well in a similar sad state that Grimm's Fairy Tales was in. The paper that was inside it pretty well just disintegrated in my hands when I pulled it out. It was practically dust. So I actually have already made a new one. So let's pull it out. Here's my handy dandy dowel and my method for curving a new spine. So, oh, hold on, you're stuck. How did you? Oh, you're underneath. Oh no, a little bit of glue got onto you. I was working. That's all right. There we go. So I've got the new spine in here. Oh, glue was coming out. I doubled up on my cardstock. I made a new spine out of file folder. Out of file folder cardboard. Sorry, I'm trying to think and talk at the same time, and you know, anyone who knows me, sometimes that's hard. All right, there we go. That's better. I just keep that all together and put it aside till the next time. There we go. So I created, it's quite curved right now. That will relax. But I just find that if, there's all that glue that was smooching out the ends there. I find that if I curve it while the paper is still damp from the glue, and then I do my wrap on my doweling with the pantyhose, it will hold the new shape lovely. Just let it dry, leave it overnight, and you will have a beautiful shaped new spine card. And I have two different sizes that I like to work with. So I have this one for a smaller book, and then I have actually just an old rolling pin that I took the handles off. This one works better on slightly bigger books. And I always go for an extreme curve is my recommendation. I'm not the expert, but my recommendation is go for more of a curve, because it will, as you're working with it, as you have to reapply glue, it will relax a little bit and then it'll be perfect. So like I'm very happy with that curve. But if I had used my bigger doweling, well, my rolling pin. I think that would have been too subtle of a curve for a small book. Just would have been too subtle. So this is going to be going in. This poor little baby is in such sad shape, but this one will be going in, and it will get a new spine. First I have to put some fabric in. I just wanted to show you what we will eventually be doing, but first it's going to get restored with some fabric. And this is the fabric I'm going to use. The last time I used this fabric, happy memories come back, was when I made that cool lap book out of an old school atlas. I used this fabric, and I dyed it. It actually was a light ivory color like this, that background. It was black and this color, but I wanted it darker for that other book, and now this is actually going to be perfect for the British nation. British nation. Isn't that going to go, that's going to look nice together. Yeah, so I dyed it with, where'd it go? And it only took a few drops. I added some bottled distress ink just to some water, and just stuffed it into, I got a measuring cup. I filled it with like half a cup of water. I added a couple drops of this, and then I stuffed the fabric in, and I left it in probably for a good 5-6 hours. And then I brought it out and I let it dry without rinsing to really set that dye, and then I rinsed it. And this is what I got, and I like it. It's a little, you can see that some areas are a little bit darker than others. See the difference? Turned out nice. And this is what I'm going to use inside here. Now, what I wanted to show you this morning, before I go downstairs and get started downstairs on my day, is when, this is something else that I learned from Sophia. If you're going to put in new end papers, if you can, take the edges off of the old end papers, and that way you will get a nice fresh edge. Imagine this is the new end paper that I will eventually be putting in here. If I put that over, it's going to have a much nicer edge rather than possibly the old end paper still showing around the edge. And sometimes they come up easy. I've been doing this for my last few journals now, and I'm really, really happy with this technique. And sometimes they come up really easy. You just get under, lift it, and then next thing you know, you can just rip them up. And sometimes, like this one, this glue is holding on through to the end of the world. The fabric's not, but the glue on the paper is. And there's a few things that you can do. At first, I was really going at it with a very sharp X-Acto blade, and just sort of scraping at it lightly. But I found that I actually didn't need that sharp of a blade. I was worried I was going to cut through the canvas. So just a regular kitchen knife, I found will just sort of, you just have to get under there and scrape at it and bring it up. Unfortunately, I can't really get under it. Sophia has these amazing knives that that she has created that have a beautiful round edge, and they're sharpened right down to a blade. And she literally can get underneath, and they just come off, slice through like butter. And I don't have one of those yet. My son-in-law, who actually is a knife sharpener, is going to make me a few. I'm very excited. So once I get my new knife that is in the spirit of Sophia's knives, I'm sure that this job will be easier. But this is working in the meantime. See, it's coming up. I'm just gently going at it and bringing that up and just giving myself just a little bit of room for when I lay down the new end paper, which I don't know what it will be. I may simply go in the spirit of the original book and put some maps down again. I have quite a few old atlases that I could choose some fun maps from, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking for this book. I'm actually thinking that this might be where I put my collage of a lacy cluster, lace and fabric and buttons cluster here. I love that the author's name, Wrong. Can you see that? I love that. I love that the original owner wrote all over it. I love that the price is still on the book because it was a school book, so it says $1 here. I love all these tape marks, so I want to be able to leave as much of those. I love these ink blotches. Seriously, you couldn't fake this better. It's just so gorgeous. The patina is so gorgeous. But I am tempted to use this corner, and that really means that this journal could be anything I want it to be. I don't necessarily have to follow the theme that this is going to be a historical book about England. I'm not leaning towards that, so I may very well opt for some beautiful interior papers so that it's just a beautiful ugly old book when it's done. We'll see. If you've followed me this long along this junk journal journey, you know I can change my mind in 5 minutes. So I don't know, my gut, when it comes to working on these books, my gut hasn't steered me wrong yet. Oh wait, no, one time it did. No, it wasn't my gut that steered me wrong. I had one cover that I was so excited about, and it just totally was ruined. But it wasn't my fault that it was ruined. I tried a new finish on it, and I should have tested. I tried a new acrylic sealer on it, and I should have tested the acrylic sealer on something that wasn't very important first, and instead I just went ahead and presumed that it was going to be fabulous, and it ruined the cover. It was going to be a journal on desserts, and it had a beautiful picture of Jack Sprat and his wife on the cover. I was so excited about this book. And unfortunately, the matte, the aerosol matte finish went cloudy and blotchy. It left spots. It was awful. So I've recently discovered this one, the Krylon matte finish, and I'm liking it. Up until now, the best one that I found that I used for sealing was a matte aerosol Mod Podge sealant. Believe it or not, it's different. It's not like liquid Mod Podge. It's not like this stuff, the bottle that you paint on. This stuff can stay tacky depending on where you live and the weather in your area. This one will still try to absorb water even out of the air. And at first I wondered if I was losing my mind. Why isn't this dry yet? Why isn't this dry yet? And it's because it just stays active and it keeps trying to pull water out of the air like a succulent plant. But the Mod Podge aerosol is different, and don't let it scare you. Don't think, oh, it's Mod Podge, it's going to stay tacky. It doesn't. The aerosol is a completely different product. It is just a sealant. It's not a glue, and it does a good job. But I was ever in search of an aerosol matte sealant other than Mod Podge, just in case. It's nice to have two different products that you know you can trust in the event that you can't find the one you're wanting. And I'm happy with this one, the Krylon matte finish. It's permanent protective matte coating. And my husband loves the smell of it. And he's got a very sensitive nose. So if he likes the smell of it, it must smell not bad. Okay, so I have to get, I need to restore and actually completely rebuild the spine, because as you can see, there is fabric that's just completely missing. It's gone. And I don't mind. I'm not looking to create a perfect journal here. I want it to look grungy. I want it to look hand sewn. I'm going to be using my sewing machine on this right through the board. So I'm not too worried that it's going to be that it's going to look ugly. It's going to be one of those situations where it's like an ugly duckling, and it's going to look so ugly that it's beautiful. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking that I will be simply laying down some of this cool fabric. I think I'm going to continue to fray this. I'm going to tear along here, and fray it, and sew it into place. And then, so that will give it strength, and the fabric will hold it hopefully for another 110 years. And I'm trying to decide if I want to, I don't want to make it too bulky, but I may put down a layer of cheesecloth first. I might put down cheese. I do this by guess and by golly, so I'm sorry if any of you out there are actual book restorers and you're gasping in horror at my technique. Sorry, not sorry. I just do this. I'm a crafter. I'm not a book restorer. I'm a crafter. So yeah, I think this is the order that we will go in and get that fixed, and then I will go with my sewing machine. I will decide the lace on the cover, and then I'm going to actually go around, because these corners are going to need some TLC, and I'll show you how to do that. See those? You can fan them out like a Rolodex. And here's a situation where I'm proud of myself. I was doing something just myself, thinking, okay, maybe this will work on corners like this, and it turns out it was the right thing to do. Sophia does the same thing, because when she's fixing corners like this, she literally just opens them up and puts PVA glue down inside, and then she pinches it shut and lets it dry, and then you have your corner is back to being as best as it can be. Obviously, if pieces are missing, I mean, that's literally missing the point on the corner, then there's nothing you can do about that. I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look grungy. I enjoy the grunge. So I think this is what, so today I'm going to, oh, you have to go over here. Bumblebee napkin. So today I'm actually going to turn off the camera now. I'm going to go get some yellow paper, soaking in some tea downstairs. And I am going to, get this cover mostly solidified, sturdified, make it sturdy. And then we will start choosing some, how we're going to make this cover pretty. So that's it. That's my thinking for the day. It's kind of nice. I like Mondays right now because of the COVID situation. A lot of the unique little stores are still keeping their hours cut back, and so most thrift stores where I live are closed on Mondays. They're taking Sundays and Mondays as their days of rest. And I rather like that because that forces me on Mondays. Hubby's at work, so it's me and the dog at home, and I'm not tempted to wander out and wander around stores. I want to get to work, and I know that nothing's open, so I might as well get to work. And I enjoy this anyways. So I'm going to go make a pot of tea, and some of it I'm going to drink, and some of it I am going to beautify this paper. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you stay safe, stay healthy, and we will talk soon. Bye.